Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As man, oh man, has the entire world been in shock over the past couple days. Bombshells dropping left and right. And the most irrational market on the planet viewed everything as positive. We saw Bitcoin break $26,000. It's up over 10% on the week. XRP holding in there strong. And overall, the world is collapsing by the seams. Nobody can predict this market, but as I've been stating on my channel for the past couple months, I do believe we have a speculative uptrend left in us before it's lights out for this market. While the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank was massive, I did state that I expected a bailout, and boom, like clockwork, we got just that. We're gonna get into all of that and more, but first and foremost, guys, I need to talk some shit very quickly. Here, we saw Chairman of the SEC Gary Gensler post the most nonsensical bullshit on his page today, wishing everyone a happy Pi Day, while the entire financial and banking system is collapsing on his watch, while he's directly responsible for destroying the crypto industry and is in cahoots with politicians to try and blame crypto for the banking crisis happening right now. This is the shit he posted. I think I speak for all of us when I say what an unbelievable piece of shit Gary Gensler is. Ladies and gentlemen, I hold no punches when it comes to how much I hate Gary Gensler and hate the SEC. And I think this animation best depicts how we feel about Gary. Fuck Gary and fuck the SEC.
Gary, are you there? Gary.
Gary, we're coming for you, Gary. Nobody likes you, Gary. That's why I got more likes than you, calling you a piece of shit than you did on your stupid Pi Day post. Ladies and gentlemen, not only do we in the XRP community not like Gary Gensler, but neither does Congressman Warren Davidson, who's making damn sure that Gary Gensler realizes that he's only in charge of regulating securities, not the payment space. And I think the timing of him coming out with this specific quote is not coincidental. We just witnessed a massive banking crisis. We're about to get a decision in this Ripple lawsuit. And he's over here putting Gary in his place when it comes to the payment system. Guys, I want you all to take a listen to this, as it's very important.
I just would ask Professor Evans, does the Securities and Exchange Commission regulate the payment system or securities?
Clearly securities.
Yep, thank you. And you know, the legal clarity that we're seeking, frankly, wants to make sure that investors, innovators, and regulators, like Chairman Gary Gensler, also know that the Securities and Exchange Commission doesn't regulate the payment system.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that quote was extremely important. It's so important because I believe that after this banking collapse, after all the negative ESG policies Gary Gensler has been the head of, after his negligence with the FTX and Terra Luna situation, after he's been trying the regulation by enforcement approach with all cryptos and crypto exchanges in the entire industry, I think this decision by the Ripple judge is going to be negative for the SEC and Gary Gensler, I think Gary Gensler is about to be put in his place by Congress and also by the judge. And I think these are the moments right now where the crypto industry is beginning to fight back. Here, guys, on my Instagram, I made a very important post earlier today describing how the banks are bringing systemic risks to crypto. This was stated by Jeremy Allaire, CEO of Circle. And the reason that's so important is because constantly, the traditional banking system has been saying crypto is a risk to them, when in reality, what we just saw by the failure of Silicon Valley Bank was that they were the ones that were actually the biggest risk to crypto. This is unbelievable. And it's important you all realize that they need us more than we need them. You see, what's so ironic is that banks are currently failing. Yet ISO 20022 is about to go live March 20th in just 6 days, as this Ripple vs. SEC case is about to get clarity. Coincidence? I don't think so. There are no such things as coincidences in this world anymore. And if the past 3 years have taught you nothing, it's that everything is the synchronistic rollout of whatever agenda they're planning. First, they create a problem. Then they wait for the people to ask for a solution. And they give the people the solution they already had in place. ISO 20022, live in 6 days. This March is going to be one of the most important and volatile financial times in our lives. But we've all been prepared. We're invested in the greatest digital asset on the planet, XRP. And if you don't get it by now, you're just not getting it. We got sued first because we're going to get clarity first, because we were that important for the entire planet. But now, guys, I want to take you to an interview Jeremy Allaire, CEO of Circle, who backs the USDC stablecoin, had earlier today, as it's very important for the future of stablecoins. As USDC regained its peg, we need to see what is or is not safe in this space. I liked a lot of the things he had to say, and I think the crypto industry is about to fight back against the banking system and regulators in a massive way.
How much damage did the DPEG cause to USD's reputation? And, is it long-lasting damage?
Well, I mean, look, I think what's really notable about what we've seen over the past several days is that, the narrative had been, how do we protect the banking system from crypto? And I think what's taken place here is a demonstration of how do we protect a stablecoin from the banking system itself. And we have long advocated for a full reserve model for digital dollars on the internet. And we've emphasized the risks of the fractional reserve banking system as something that backs that. And so we'll come back to, I know, the regulatory questions, but the important thing here is the result of this has been that we have been able to actually move the entirety of the reserves, which had already been essentially held in, Circle Reserve Fund with BlackRock, all short-term T-bills. That's about 80% of it, and the remainder with Bank of New York Mellon, to have, the safest underlying dollar digital currency that's out there. And so we're actually coming out of this with an infrastructure, a dollar market infrastructure that's the safest in the world for transacting in the space.
And you flagged, talking of the reserves, you flagged that you had about $3.3 billion US worth of reserves at Silicon Valley Bank. Have you been able to access those? Have you been able to remove those? What's the update on those reserves?
That's exactly right. So, we were able to access those yesterday, and I believe, if not everything, very close to everything was able to clear, and so we'll publish a kind of full update on that today. But that's exactly right. So, we're in a place now where we have, I believe, the safest digital dollar on the internet, and that's really critical.
Have you done enough due diligence on a cross-reverse approach?
We have said that we're working with a payments bank, and that's really for handling settlements and transactions, not a reserve bank. And so, sort of money in transit coming in and out of the system, settlement banks are really critical. We'll have more announcements around those kinds of things soon, too.
Now, guys, I thought that was very important, stating USDC is the most safe crypto. Now, guys, I thought that was very important, stating USDC is the safest digital dollar on the internet. We still have that Tether bombshell that I think will collapse at some point soon. But I have liked how USDC has recovered and gained its peg back in just a short period of time. Now, guys, if I can pivot your attention to Jim Cramer as he told his viewers to sell all their Bitcoin in this rally today. Whenever Jim Cramer states something, typically the opposite happens. Remember, he recommended the bank FRC on Friday, and then it collapsed by 70%. And he also recommended Signature Bank, which absolutely imploded just the other day.
Let's start with Signature Bank. This is a New York-based commercial bank, but it's got 36 private client offices sprinkled across the New York metro area, California, and North Carolina. The thing about Signature is that it's a business-oriented bank, and to the extent that they have a consumer business, it's focused on the wealthy, namely business owners and senior executives who do a lot of business, and you can make a lot of money working with them.
And ladies and gentlemen, like clockwork, the Jim Cramer indicator never fails. Now, guys, for posts like that and more, please follow me on Instagram down in the description below, as it's a vital platform for me to get you as much information as quick as possible. Next up, guys, I'm gonna play you a powerful clip by Crypto Mason of him talking about Operation Choke Point, the traditional banking cartel and politicians working together to use the banks to absolutely implode crypto. And I think his breakdown of what took place was absolutely perfect. Please take a listen and give Mason a follow.
I am about to expose why crypto could actually be slaughtered in the USA and never succeed. This also could affect the rest of the world, so listen closely until the end if you want to know this alpha. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is happening to crypto right now. So the first version of Operation Choke Point was back in 2013, where the US DOJ started to investigate banks that were doing business with high risk businesses like, firearms dealers, payday lenders, online casinos, etc., because they believed that these were at a high risk of fraud and money laundering. So essentially, Operation Choke Point was asking banks to identify customers who were simply doing something that government officials don't like. The banks would then choke off those customers' access to financial services, shutting down their accounts. Now, with everything happening with these banks right now, the top 3 crypto-facing banks have been killed off, essentially. I want to give a big shout out to Nick Carter for warning us over 1 month ago on this. Now, Nick Carter points out that Barney Frank openly is admitting that Signature was shut down not because of insolvency, but because they wanted to kill off the last major pro-crypto bank. So what's happening here is a version of Operation Choke Point. This is essentially Operation Choke Point 2.0. What you have in crypto is an entire financial world that is basically separate to traditional finance. Traditional finance involves your fiat dollars, your bank accounts, your stocks. All of that stuff exists in one world. Then over here you have the crypto world. In order to get money from one world to another, there are things called on-ramps and off-ramps. For example, this is like when you go on Coinbase or Binance and you buy crypto, but with a credit card or your bank account. The thing people don't understand with crypto is, to buy it, you need to use fiat dollars. Like, you need to have some of your fiat money going into the crypto ecosystem. Now, what the government and people who don't like this think is that they can sever the tie in the middle. They're gonna completely use all their effort to sever those off-ramps. So I predict that it's going to get extremely hard to off-ramp and on-ramp money in and out of crypto. So it honestly might be a good idea to get as much of your fiat dollars into stable cryptos. Now, we can't even trust the stable coins at this point. So where do you put it? I'm putting mine into XRP and Ethereum. This is like the main discussion everywhere right now is where the hell do you put your money? Gold, silver, stocks, real estate? Like where do you put it? In cash? Like what's the king right now? And honestly, you know, it's basically cash and stable crypto assets.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was an absolutely powerful explanation by Mason. And I hope all of you understand something. The dollar isn't stable. Stable coins aren't even stable. The DXY right now, as I predicted and showed you guys the other day, is beginning to fall yet again. I don't believe in the US dollar or in stable coins anymore. Therefore, because of this, my new stable coin of choice is XRP. XRP will be my main vehicle and stablecoin that I take profits into until further notice. And I think that's going to end up playing a powerful role in our success. Finally, guys, to cap off this video for today, I'm going to leave you with an explanation for the current situation happening in the world by Janet Yellen, U.S. Treasury Secretary. We know this lizard likes telling lies through her teeth. And I give a breakdown and show that what she's saying is just bullshit. Watch what they do, not what they say. And I promise it'll make you millions down the road. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
We go now to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen.
Let me say, America's economy relies on a safe and sound banking system that can provide for the credit needs of our households and businesses. So whenever a bank, especially one like Silicon Valley Bank with billions of dollars in deposits, fails, it's clearly a concern. We've been hearing from those depositors and other concerned people this weekend. So let me say that I've been working all weekend with our banking regulators to design appropriate policies to address this situation.
Can you say whether there will be other regional bank failures?
Well, look, let me just say that we want to make sure that the troubles that exist at one bank don't create contagion to others that are sound.
Do you foresee what's happening now as making it harder for Fed Chair Powell to continue with the kind of rate hikes he's indicated he plans?
The Federal Reserve is independent and charged with making judgments about what the appropriate course of action is to address financial risks and also to achieve their inflation and employment goals. And I'm not going to comment on what the appropriate response is for them. They will be evaluating this in the days and weeks to come.
XRP, because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing pricing for their carbon credit solution, XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple, who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America. Ripple, who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve. Ripple, a former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division. Ripple, leading Australia's CBDC effort. Ripple, who hired a former Treasury of the United States. Ripple, 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board. Ripple, 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors, former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany, former business director at Swift, former Swift board member, former CFO of PayPal, former head of the DTCC, former chief business officer at Uber, former VP of Amazon, and former SEC chair on their legal team. Ripple, who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website. Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.